We are coming off a loss. We're going towards a win. The LA Chargers are going into Atlanta and gonna beat your boy Kirk to go 8-4.
I don't know the jersey.
Welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I, of course, cheer for the LA Chargers. And across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. Woo, woo, woo. Yes.
Yeah.
Good matchup. Good matchup. Hey, Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, they're doing right. They're doing all right. Bijan's looked good. Pitts has looked all right. And
London.
the Vikings play them the week after, so you got to kind of batter them up a little bit. Don't injure them. But just bumps and bruises after their bye week, you know what I mean?
Jim Harbaugh team is going to do that. Is going to do that for sure. But if you are with us, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. If you are a fan of the Chargers, the Vikings, or the NFL in general, we would appreciate your consideration to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit that notification bell, as it does help us out. Lets us know that you want to keep talking NFL football, just like Brandon and I do. All right, Brandon, let's get into it. We are going against the number one team in the NFC South at 6-5. Yeah, the Bucks are second, 5-6.
What?
Yes, crazy after the strong start with the Bucks and Baker Mayfield's crazy year. Of course, they lose Chris Godwin, unfortunately. Mike Evans was hurt for quite some time. But the Falcons are coming off a bye week. Okay, they're going to be home in Atlanta in the Dome, and they're going to be feeling like we need to pick ourselves back up. But you know why? Because they lost to the Broncos the week before. Not only did they lose to the Broncos the week before, but do you remember the score? 38-6.
Smoked them.
Smoked them. Absolutely smoked them. So I don't know what was happening there. I think Drake London was roughed up a little bit. But Bijan should be able to do his own thing. Kyle Pitts, same thing. That O-line has been pretty successful this season so far. The defense, about mid, but Kirk Cousins still seems to be kind of figuring out his way after his Achilles injury last year. It started off slow, bless you, and then it got a little hot, and then it's kind of come down a little bit where they've lost 2 out of their last 3 games, both to the Broncos and then the Saints before that. But when I look at that Falcons team, who am I really nervous of? Kyle Pitts, sure, sometimes. Drake London, sure, sometimes. Bijan, yes, absolutely. Second year, no more Arthur Smith, no more excuses.
Right.
But he's having a great year. Tyler Algier, one of the best handcuffs in fantasy football, but one of the best backups. His lone starting season a few years back, he had over 1,000 yards, so he's legit. He's absolutely legit. So their offense against our defense, well, let's turn to PFF a little bit. Their offense is 3rd rated in the NFL. How crazy is that? So I'm not sure how many points per game they're really looking at here, but they're doing well. They're 6-5 in the NFC South. So I'm not sure what that really is. It seems to be their defense is the one that's reeling and really pulling the team down, which is great news for us. Yes, J.K. Dobbins is out could potentially be out after suffering a knee injury last week against the Ravens. But we have Gus Edwards. We have Kimani Vidal, who maybe is finally going to get his shot. Our wide receivers, I don't even want to talk about any of them except for LaDD, McConkey. That guy's legit. So when we look at our offenses together, let's just do quick. Justin
Okay.
Herbert, Kirk Cousins. Justin Herbert. Let's go running back. Let's go running back. Gus Edwards versus Bijan Robinson. Well, of course, Bijan Robinson. Drake London, probably better than our offense. Kyle Pitts against Will Dissly. Will Dissly, before the game this last season, was already at a career high in receptions and receiving yards. I think it was, well, I know it was still under 400 yards, but he's doing something right now. He's getting open, he's making the catches, and he's becoming Justin Herbert's very good friend, that kind of security blanket that the tight end position normally is for a quarterback. Our offense with Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh really pumping his ego up, his confidence up. I do believe, no matter what the position players may say, our offensive line, I think, is coming into their own. We had a little bit of hiccups going on in this last game, but 2 weeks prior against the Bengals, I'm pretty sure 4 of the 5 of our offensive line were the top rated offensive linemen in the NFL according to PFF. So that is a huge piece, as our offensive line is an offensive weapon. And if we can protect Justin Herbert and we can allow him to make the throws that he has been making over the past few weeks, and beautiful, precise passes, we're going to cook, especially against that below average defense over there. So I mean, it's a good thing the offense doesn't go against the offense here, but our offense will beat up on their defense. When we look at their defense, let's look. Who is somebody that we really need to consider? Grady Jarrett. Yeah, defensive interior. Right now, this year, he's not really doing the best. He's above average. He's 51st out of 120 interior D linemen. Sure. AJ Terrell, that guy on the corner. Not having his best season this year, but he is definitely somebody to watch out for, and especially matching up on our wide receivers on the outside. So that's going to be Q. That's going to be Joshua Palmer. Maybe get a little bit of DJ Chark and some Ladidi as well. Justin Simmons, old safety from the Broncos. You know, he is getting a little bit long in the tooth, so I'm not sure how much he's really impacting the defense, but there are some names out here, so it's not like it's a walk in the park. Jesse Bates. Oh, they really revamped their safety unit here. So Jesse Bates coming from the Bengals, Justin Simmons coming from the Broncos, to really help enforce that shell in the secondary. Not anything to scoff at, but I do believe our team is better positioned to handle their defense than their offense is positioned to handle our defense. And let's get into that. So, quickly, we'll look at the Atlanta Falcons offense. Kirk Cousins right now playing some pretty decent ball. He is, like, as I mentioned earlier, you know, started off a little slow, but then you pick it up, and then now we're kind of evening out a little bit. You got Bijan Robinson, 91.6 PFF grade. This is pretty crazy. Second out of all running backs. I wonder who first is. Is it Saquon? Is it Derrick Henry? Do any of you know? Please let us know in the comments, because I'm not quite sure who would be that guy. Getting out wide. Let's start at the bottom, or wide receiver 3, Ray McLeod Jr. Or, sorry, the third. Cool name, absolutely. But not really threatening us too much. Then you have Darnell Mooney wearing that number 1. Brandon, you know how I feel about players wearing number 1, number 0. If you're going to wear one of those numbers, you best be on your game. You best be one of the better players, if not one of the best players at your position. Darnell Mooney has put together a fantastic season. He is that deep threat guy. He's got the speed coming out of the Bears, finally getting a chance to really thrive in a competent offense. And he is doing that. And it's mostly because Drake London is going to be pulling a lot of that attention away. Drake London is having a great season this year. At the beginning, this is the theme with this Falcons offense, is that he wasn't really doing much. In fact, I thought so in fantasy football terms. I thought he was a definite letdown, especially where he was drafted in the second to third round, because everybody thought that he was going to be taking a step forward with Kirk Cousins. And he has. He has. Took some time to actually get there. So on the year, 61 receptions for 710 yards with 6 touchdowns, only 2 drops. Pretty decent so far, just coming over that halfway point of the season. He is somebody that we're definitely going to have to look at a little bit more. Hopefully Asante Samuel Jr. comes back. I'm not sure. I haven't heard any word there. But when we look at our defense, we have Tarheeb Still. We've talked about him plenty on this channel. Rookie. We also had Cam Hart, who had been doing well. Cam Hart's now dealing with an injury, so I'm not sure how he's going to play out here. But Christian Fulton, maybe he has a game where he bounces back. Our secondary, Elijah Molden at safety. Derwin James all over the place. Alohi Gilman, amazing. Troy Dye, former Vikings legend. All right, I'll use that term a little lightly, but he's been doing quite well for us as well, especially on special teams. But this last game, he was all over the place. He was putting his body on the line to try to stop Derrick Henry. And I think he's going to be doing the same with Bijan Robinson. The only difference is, might be a little bit easier if you get your hands on Bijan Robinson to take him down.
Yeah.
We've got our boy Dayon Henley, and here's an example. Here's an example of somebody wearing number 0 who is coming into his own, starting to evolve, really blossom. And he's going to be all over the field. Let's look at our D-line. We got Joey Bosa, finally off a snap count this last week. Khalil Mack, obviously, say no more. You got your interior defensive lineman with Poona Ford, Pierre Tart, sometimes Scott Matlock, that double-way player comes into play. And then you got Tuli Tuipulotu, the guy who's going to send Joey Bosa out. And I'm going to make the call right now. I don't think Joey Bosa can come back next season. He's 30 years old. He's $25 million of unguaranteed money next year. I mean, it's going to be tough unless we draft an edge rusher. But Khalil Mack is also getting older, and he is older than Joey. I'm losing myself right now. Defensive line, solid. Against their solid O-line, hey, this is turning into a matchup where I think the Chargers are going to be angry. I think the Chargers are going to know that they let one slip through their fingers last week, and they're going to come back for a vengeance. They need to ride this momentum. They need to get hot. They need to be aggressive. They need to score points. They need to make sure they don't score points, because the week following, and I know every single week is a different beast when it comes to the NFL, but you can't ever think that the Chargers are not thinking about the Kansas City Chiefs in week 14. And so we need to ride hot. We need to build this momentum. We need to get going strong and fast to kind of carry over into the next week. And I really see the Chargers pulling this one off. Relatively streamlined. That's not the right word. I don't want to say easy, but efficiently. Yeah. They're going to do a good job, and they're not going to make me sweat like the last 2 weeks have. Brandon, what do you think?
I think so too. I think the Chargers got this. I think Atlanta, they had a lot of time to sit in the bye. We'll kind of see what new coach is like. You know what I mean? This is a good moment for the new coach to have a full mental reset for his guys after that big loss that you mentioned earlier. But I think that I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think it's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be a close game. I'd venture on the lines of like a 21-24 for the Chargers type of deal, you know?
That's too stressful.
It's stressful, but I think Atlanta's a good team. I think that they, obviously they're first in the division right now, but they have a really good shot at taking that division. They played some pretty tough games, so I think that they can do it, and I think that it will be a challenge for the Chargers, but I think that they can pull through. So that's what I'm going to go with 24-21.
24-21. Hey, it's a dub for the Chargers. I'll take it. But I think it's actually I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to score 21. I think what Jim Harbaugh is going to do this week with Jesse Minter, we're going to sit down and say, hey, let's ground ourselves. 2 weeks ago, we never allowed a team to score more than 20 points. And now back-to-back weeks, we've allowed that. We almost lost one, and we did lose the other. Let's go back. Let's be this defense, the number one scoring defense. Let's stop the run in Bijan Robinson. And then that let's get the pressure on Kirk Cousins. We know how that's going to affect him. I don't think the Chargers defense will allow more than 20 points in this game. The Falcons, yes, do have some players. Hopefully we get ASJ back. I'm not sure. Again, haven't heard anything. But this team is going to be hungry. This team is going to be ready to prove themselves. And so I don't think that the Falcons score more than 13 points. Okay. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 24. I'm going to go with you there on the offensive output. 24-13 for the LA Chargers this week. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be great for me to just sit back again. I miss those days. Only 3 weeks ago, I guess, that I was able to do so. 24-13. That's my prediction. What do you all think? Week 13's coming up. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. 24-13, 24-21. Who's got it closer? What do you think the score prediction is? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you're with us, thank you again. If you are a fan of the Chargers, the Vikings, or the NFL in general, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and hitting that notification bell. Really does help us out. Lets us know you like talking football each and every week, just like Brendan and I do. All right, Brendan, send us off.
All right, everybody. Go Chargers this week. Should be a good one. Skol Bolts.
Skol Bolts! Let's go Chargers! Bolt up, baby. Let's go.
Peace.